Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I jump into a case at all, I do want to let you guys know I finally launched my merch line and I'm so beyond excited. I've got t-shirts, long sleeves, short sleeves, sweaters, crew necks, hoodies. I even have coffee cups and stickers and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see you guys wearing my merch. So it has been already dropped. It is in my Etsy shop. I will link it down below for you so you can click it and go straight to my Etsy shop. Everything is free shipping in the US. Unfortunately, I do not ship outside of the US as of right now. By the way, it is on sale right now, so be sure to get yours while you can. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. So for today's case, it's one that's been requested pretty often. It's an older case. It happened back in 1996. Most of you might know it because it is a very well-known case, but some of you might not. So we're going to get into some of the details. Before I do get started, I would love if you press that subscribe button in the corner and make sure you press on the bell notification. That way you get notified whenever I post a new video. I'm going to be posting every Saturday, so be sure to check that out. Also, if you don't follow me on TikTok, follow me here. The link is also down in the description below. I post every other day there, and I have my Bloody Alphabet series, and I'm also going to be coming up with another series shortly. So the case that we're going to be talking about today is the JonBenet Ramsey case. JonBenet was an American child beauty star. She was just 6 years old, and she had an older brother who was 9 named Burke. Their mother and father were extremely wealthy. Her father's name was JonBenet, which is where she got her name with a slight twist, and her mother's name was Patricia, but she went by Patsy. They lived in Boulder, Colorado. JonBenet was following her mother's footsteps. Her mother was a former beauty queen of West Virginia in 1977. Her father was a multimillionaire businessman. They lived in a 15-bedroom house. Their life just seemed perfect. That was until the morning of December 26, 1996, when they woke up and discovered JonBenet had been kidnapped. Patsy walked downstairs and she said she found a 3-page ransom note. And in this ransom note, they wanted $118,000 for their daughter's safe return. Patsy immediately started freaking out. She went upstairs, she told her husband, she went into her son's room, Burke, and was screaming. She didn't know what to do. She was looking for JonBenet and she couldn't find her. She ended up calling police and letting them know that her daughter had been kidnapped and she needed help. After she got off the phone with 911 dispatcher, she immediately called all of her friends and neighbors to come over. This is when the case just kind of was not being taken care of the way it should have been. So when police showed up, there was a ton of people there, and this is not the best idea because if there's a kidnapping, you want to preserve as much evidence as you can. You don't want a ton of people coming over and disrupting that because now everything's contaminated. They tried to do the best search as they could, but with this 15-bedroom mansion, they needed help. So the police asked JonBenet and his friend to help check around the house to see if there's anything suspicious, which was a terrible idea. JonBenet and his friend decided to start downstairs in the basement. And as soon as they walked down there, JonBenet found his daughter's lifeless body. JonBenet had a piece of tape over her mouth and her hands were tied up above her head. He immediately grabbed her and ran upstairs. I understand where he was coming from. It is his daughter. He doesn't want to keep her laying there, but he just contaminated the entire crime scene. They ended up doing an autopsy on JonBenet, and it was discovered that she had died of asphyxiation, and she actually got hit in the head with a blunt force object, and they didn't know what the object was. Upon further investigation, they said that she had gotten hit in the head, and anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours after she got hit, she was strangled. So after she got hit, she was still alive. There was a broken window in the basement. However, they lived in a very safe neighborhood. This window was broken before any of this had happened. And JonBenet actually said that was already like that, but he just hasn't fixed it because they live in a safe neighborhood. He didn't think anything would happen. After the whole case blew up and they could not find any more leads, it turned into a cold case. For years, they still don't know what happened. There is a lot of inconsistencies in the story and some other crazy things that people believe happened, and we're going to go over those. So to begin with, we're actually going to start with some of the inconsistencies in the story. According to Patsy and JonBenet, they were at a friend's house that night. So Christmas night, they went to a friend's house for dinner with the two kids. And when they left, JonBenet fell asleep in the car. They picked her up out of the car when they got home and put her in bed, and that was that. When they woke up the next morning, she was gone. But what was found when her autopsy came back was that she had pineapple in her system. When the police were actually looking around, there was a bowl of pineapple and milk on the counter. That was from the night before. So it doesn't make sense that she fell asleep in the car and then they put her straight to bed, because she obviously got up or wasn't asleep. Something isn't right, because she went downstairs and had pineapple. They did DNA analysis on the bowl, and it came back that Burke and Patsy's DNA was on this bowl. We're gonna get more into that in a second. Another weird thing is the ransom note. I don't understand how it's a 3-page ransom note. Ransom notes are super quick and to the point. It doesn't go into 3-page detail of it. Like, it doesn't make sense. And the paper that was used for the ransom note was actually a notebook that they had on their counter by their phone. So it was Patsy and JonBenet's notebook that was used. Throughout the whole ransom letter, the beginning, the writing was very consistent, but towards the end, it got very inconsistent. It's as if somebody was trying really hard to make their writing look not like their writing, but towards the end, they got very careless and were just kind of like, whatever. Within the ransom note, they asked for $118,000. That's a little suspicious, because JonBenet's bonus check that year from work was about the same amount. And if these people were really rich and lived in a 15-bedroom house, why would they only ask for $118,000? That seems a little weird. They ended up testing the writing against JonBenet's and Patsy's writing. They were able to clear JonBenet right away. They were not able to say or not say if Patsy actually did the writing. They are very similar, and there's a lot of things that she does that was in the note, so that seems a little weird. JonBenet's brother was, again, 9 years old at the time, and he stayed quiet for 20 years. He finally went and broke his silence on the Dr. Phil show at 29 years old, and his whole interview was weird. Throughout the interview, he's like smiling the whole time. That just seems so weird. I don't know, maybe he's just nervous or something. They started questioning him about the events of that night and what happened the next morning, and he said that his mom came in screaming, looking for JonBenet. He didn't know where she was, and he said that he stayed in bed all morning. Even up to the point when like police came to search, he was still in bed, which seems really weird, because just kids in general are so like they love like seeing cops, especially if it's in their own house. And if your mom's screaming, why are you gonna stay in bed all morning? Your mom's coming up screaming and you're just gonna lay there when there's cops and there's family, friends, and neighbors all at your house. You're just gonna stay in bed. Like, I don't know, that just seems a little weird to me. There's one specific story that many people think happened that night, including some experts. And they believe that Burke had something to do with JonBenet's murder. So they believed that JonBenet could have been put to bed like Patsy said that night. But she could have woken up and went downstairs and found her favorite snack, which was the pineapples and milk. And like I said, the DNA evidence on the bowl was of Burke and Patsy. So it could have been that they were downstairs eating it, and JonBenet could have taken a piece of pineapple out of the bowl, and Burke could have gotten mad. Again, they're kids, they get mad, and they could hurt each other. It was later found that the murder weapon was possibly the flashlight that was sitting in their house. And it was said that Burke could have grabbed this flashlight and hit JonBenet in the head, which caused this blunt force trauma. This did not kill her though. She ended up passing out. The family could have thought that Burke killed her. Patsy probably freaked out, and her and John tried to cover it up because they didn't want to lose their daughter and their son. It could have been this whole rushed ordeal that they came up with this ransom note, which, by the way, even had quotes from movies. They used ransom notes that they've seen in movies in their own ransom note. Well, I'm not going to say there because it was never said that they did it, but that was weird. Also found that the piece of tape that JonBenet had on her mouth had fibers of her mother's sweater. Why is her mother's sweater fibers on this piece of tape? Her mother was also wearing the same clothes that she wore that night to the party the next day. Her reasoning was because she was freaking out and frantic, she just threw something on. Which, I mean, it could make sense, but it just seems really inconsistent. And, like, the timing, it's like they didn't have enough time to, like, cover everything up. It just seemed like it just all happened at once. So they could have staged the whole thing, which they also found a piece of broken paintbrush from the mom's paintbrush set that was used to strangle JonBenet. It just seemed so last minute and like rushed. It just seems really weird. I don't understand how it could be a 3-page ransom note. I can't wrap my mind around that. But also, why would a kidnapper stay in the house and write a 3-page ransom note with the families like, I don't understand that. And ask for the specific amount of money seems a little off. I also want to mention that when the police were doing an extensive search of the outside of the house looking for any forced entry, they did not find anything. Like I said, there was that broken window, but that was taken care of. There was multiple paths leading up to the house, which anybody could have walked up and missed the footprints because there was specific paths to go up to the house. Not to mention they had multiple people coming over to their house after all this happened, so that didn't help. Another theory is that somebody broke into their house and did this to JonBenet. It makes sense because, she was a child beauty pageant star. Those kind of things bring a lot of pedophiles. It would make sense if somebody did break in their house, but again, there was no sign of forced entry. However, during the autopsy, it was noticed that she was sexually abused. There was a convicted pedophile named Gary Olivia who actually confessed to the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. He did this confession through letters that he sent to his friends while he was in prison. But it was looked into and he did not do it, but he was just completely fascinated by JonBenet, which is really weird. It was later found out, no, he did not do it. Another theory, which is actually more of like a conspiracy theory, is that JonBenet is actually Katy Perry. I'm sure most of you heard this if you've heard of this story. It is really crazy. I personally don't believe in it. They just think that she is Katy Perry. I don't know. It's a little out there. It's a theory. I personally believe that it was a huge cover-up and the family did have something to do with it. There was just so many things that were like spot on and just weird with the whole case that doesn't make sense to me. But then again, I don't know. JonBenet's mother ended up passing away in 2006 due to ovarian cancer. Her father remarried, and like I said, Burke was hidden away from media for 20 years. He finally spoke out, but I don't think we'll ever really know what happened to JonBenet. This poor little girl didn't even get to live her life, and it's just so sad what happened to her, and I wish we could bring her justice. Let me know down below what case you would like me to talk about next, or even give me your thoughts. What are your thoughts and theories on this whole case? What do you think happened? It's honestly one of the craziest cases out there, especially for it never being solved in 20 plus years. It's just so crazy, so many inconsistencies, so I'm really interested to know what you think about all this. But until next time, bye guys.